you for tuning back in to Astrology, Angels, and More. I'm Mary Silvernail, and I'll be your host for our show here tonight. And I'm very excited about this show because what we're going to be discussing is love and gratitude. But first, as I do each show, I'd like to go over a few of the hot parts of what's going on in astrology, some important things astrologically. First of all, we're in the sign right now as we film this show of Scorpio. And the last show I discussed Scorpio's traits, etc. And so you could tune into that show. Now, we're going to be talking about Sagittarius tonight because on November the 22nd at exactly 9:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the sun will be moving into Sagittarius. Happy birthday, Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is ruled by the very, very lucky planet of Jupiter. Jupiter is what brings abundance and fulfillment and wonderful things into people's lives. Expansion in products and things like that. So the color purple is extremely important to a Sagittarian. That's their lucky color. And a lot of Sagittarians are very drawn to shades of purple, violet, lavender, and even the deep purples. Because purple is a very spiritual color. It's also the color of royalty. And Sagittarius appreciates that very much. Most Sagittarians that I know are highly spiritual people. Because if you believe in reincarnation, many Sagittarians that you may know had possibly been a priest or a shaman or a very special healer in some way in a previous lifetime. Now, Sagittarians are a lot of fun to be around. They enjoy adventure and they have very outgoing personalities. And usually, they are lucky enough in life because of their ruling planet, Jupiter, to be very successful people. But they're lots of fun and they love to travel. And as I mentioned before, they're very spiritual people. A Sagittarius is someone that you can count on as a friend. They make wonderful friends. Now, some of the things that I wanted to talk about, right now at the filming of this show, we're still in Mercury retrograde. And some people have been coming and telling me how some of my clients and friends have been telling me that this Mercury retrograde has been a bit difficult, especially the past few days. Well, we were just dealing with the full moon of Taurus. And even though Taurus full moon is usually pretty lucky, because when the moon is in Taurus, it's in what we call astrologically exaltation, which is the best placement that the moon can actually be in. However, the problem has been that this retrograde Mercury has been in the sign opposite Taurus, Scorpio. So now the full moon is passing. The effects really only last for a few days. And pretty soon we'll have Mercury going direct. And when it goes direct will be on November the 20th. And then you'll see that things kind of settle down a bit. But in reference to this next moon that I'd like to talk about is on November 26th. That's when the Sagittarius New Moon will be. It's a time to absorb great wisdom, whether it's academically, professionally, or spiritually. And the aspects of Venus and Uranus could mean that you could receive help, very unexpected help, from an unusual source. So be open to this. This new moon is also the perfect time to control any problems that you might have been having in reference to sugar cravings and things like that. Make your intention on this new Sagittarius moon to help you with any of your eating habits if you're consuming too much sugar or carbohydrates. I know it sounds a little bit crazy in reference to the moon, but it would be a wonderful intention for you. So the other thing is that I wanted to talk to you guys about is the fact that this show, we're going to be talking a lot about love. And before we get into all of that with a wonderful guest that I have here with me, I'd like to talk in reference to astrology in reference to love. Most people, when they're looking for love, they'll say, what sign are you? What they're saying is, what sun sign are you? And really, all the sun represents is the sense of the person's self. And it depends on what house their sun would fall in. There's so many pieces to the puzzle in reference to astrology and a person's personality. So you can't really just simply base it on a sun sign. Actually, when looking for love, it would be good, very good to know where the moon was at the time of the person's birth. Because when people are attracted to each other, what really attracts them is the sun, the masculine sun, and the feminine moon. And when those two are conjunct, which means they're of the same astrological sign, that makes a perfect pair. You see, because the moon is really where your heart is. Even though the planet Venus rules love, the moon is what rules your emotions. And your moon sign is extremely important. So realize when you're reading your horoscope, you're only reading about your sun sign. So it would be a good idea to have possibly your chart done by an astrologer, a professional astrologer, or sometimes you can even have it just done online to find out where all the planets were when you were born. And to find out what your moon sign is. And what your moon sign is what you should be looking for to match up with a sun sign. More so than your sun sign and the other party's sun sign. The moon really is what determines how a person feels about things, even all the way back to childhood. That's what the moon represents, the person's deep, deep, deep inner feelings. And by the way, too, the moon rules the stomach. And the reason that I'm bringing that up is because many times what we do is we filter our feelings actually through our stomach. And so that's something that a lot of people don't realize. And what my intention here is to educate people so that they have an understanding of what's really happening in their life and how they can help themselves through astrology and working with the angels and working with spirit. So the other thing is that I wanted to say in reference to the rising sign, a lot of people don't understand what the rising sign is. Sometimes it's called the ascendant, sometimes it's called the rising sign. But what the rising sign is how a person presents themselves. And that is determined by the time of day that you're born. That is your rising sign. So when people come to me in reference to compatibility, when they meet someone new, and I ask for their birth date and their time of birth and their place of birth, and I'm also asking for their partner's information. And what I'm sincerely looking at is not just the sun sign, but the sun and the moon and the ascendant. So that's really especially those three placements in astrology are very important to know. The reason is because wherever the sun or the moon falls in a person's stars shows how important that area of their life is. And Brian, I have a chart that shows, if you could put it up on the screen, a chart that shows the different parts of the personality. Okay, well, this is the chart of today. This shows where all the planets are today, such as the moon in Gemini, etc. But there's another chart that we have that shows all the placements as far as the houses go, because that's it. And see, there's the first house, the second house, the third house, and each house represents something different in reference to the person's personality. So, if a person was born with the sun in their fifth house, that is the fifth house of creativity, and that means that they're a very creative person. If someone is born with the moon in the second house of money and finances, that means that they have a strong emotional attachment to money. So this is why it's important for you to know your sun, your moon, and your ascendant when you're deciding on a partner. It's just a really good idea. So anyway, thank you, Brian. So now I'd like to introduce our guest tonight. She's someone very special to me, a very special person. And her name is Kirsten Sciallo. Hi, Kirsten. Thank you for coming here. And I'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, thank you for having me here, Mary.
You're welcome.
It was, first of all, very special, and I'm very honored to be here. I am a Usui, Holy Fire, Reiki Master Teacher. I was blessed to be one of your students, and you have taught me all that I know as far as Reiki, and a lot about astrology and things like that. And I'm also a special education teacher, which I've been doing for 21 years. And I absolutely adore that, where I'm very blessed to be able to have learned Reiki to use in all aspects of my life, including with my teaching.
And how do you utilize that in your teaching?
Well, first and foremost, in my own being, I am a constant source of peace, and I'm always emanating love in everything that I do with my students.
Yes.
A lot of times I'll even put a little heart somewhere in the classroom just because that's just an indicator. If the kids are doing whatever they're doing, if there's one thing, they know they're loved when they walk into that classroom.
Absolutely. And everything that you do, because I've known you for quite a few years, everything you do is heart-centered. It comes from love.
Everything.
And that is one of the reasons why actually the newsletter that I produce every month that people can find on my website, www.hopehypnosis.com, you write the love column for that
Absolutely.
newsletter, right?
Absolutely.
And I had asked you to be on the show tonight because we're going to be talking about love and gratitude. And it really touched me when I read your article that you had submitted, your column to me, for the month of November. And so you brought it with you. Can you
sure
read
did.
that for our audience? Because I think
sure
it's
can.
absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely. And let me start by saying thank you for giving me the opportunity to be able to share my inner love with everyone. And, my hope is always that someone might read it and just feel a little bit better about whatever circumstance that they are presented with.
Absolutely.
And, having that venue, I appreciate that you give me that opportunity to do that, because that's very special and that means a lot to me.
Well, your column is extremely special because it comes from your heart, and you
Absolutely.
offer tremendous advice in your column on a monthly basis. I just love it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I'll read it. And,
Okay, go ahead.
as we gather here this month among friends and family, may we always remember the things that we are most grateful for. Trying to live and appreciate each day in the present moment can seem impossible sometimes, but with practice, you can find that you can always draw your attention back to the here and the now. You can start by simply appreciating a few things a day, such as your morning cup of coffee, the love of your spouse, child, friend, or pet. Even the sunshine on your face can be a blessing if you look at it from an optimistic perspective. Life will always be changing, and honestly, your greatest joy can come from appreciating the present moment. So in the chaos, try honing your attention in on something that you normally wouldn't. Perhaps you're on a bus trip and there's a delay, so you can try to talk to a passenger you normally wouldn't have, and perhaps you will be pleasantly surprised by your interaction. Creating new experiences for yourself may bring you into greater alignment with yourself. Each passing moment is a new opportunity to learn, be, and do something that you might not have even known could change your life for the better. Never give up hope and be appreciative for your many blessings, for more are sure to come.
Beautiful. Thank you,
Thank you.
Kirsten.
Thank you so
for
much.
sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. What hit me with your column this month, because you did it for the Thanksgiving holiday that's coming
Absolutely.
up and all of that. But what really hit me with that is how you suggested that people redirect their mind if something is negative that they're experiencing in life, and to redirect their mind to something very positive.
Absolutely.
And that is key, because what I have noticed as a hypnotist is that the more that we repetitively think about something negative, the more that a person is actually like hypnotizing themselves over and over and over and over and over with that repetitiveness. Whereas if they take that script and they turn it into something positive, like what you were saying, then that can completely change their brain chemistry, So it's absolutely wonderful. So now you're a Usui Holy Fire Karuna master teacher, right?
I
Yes,
certainly
so
am.
you also practice Karuna.
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us the difference between regular Reiki and the Holy Fire Karuna?
Absolutely. With the Karuna, you're taking the holy fire and you're enhancing the love, the intentions, the purity. You're able to kind of elevate whatever it is that you are focusing on and trying to work through. And you're able to elevate that and almost kind of expedite the results that you're giving through using your love and I find that it just makes everything even better.
Even better,
Yeah.
It's a higher quality, I think. I mean, all Reiki is wonderful. That's God's energy. I just feel that, especially the Karuna, it just brings a softness to everything, doesn't it?
I think so.
I do too. I love, because that's what it's really based on, is love, the premise of love. And so in your sessions that you do, your Holy Fire, Reiki, Karuna sessions that you do, how does the love part play in?
The love part plays in because, again, you are using this purity, this intention at such an elevated rate, and it's just pure love, God's love coming in, you're like the conduit for the healing, and it's so profound. And when you're able to use the Karuna in addition, the training that I've received from you then gives me different tools to be able to expedite, again, the healing. Because, everybody seems to want something, whatever they're going through.
Go ahead.
Immediately. They want
Right.
to know, myself included.
Right.
That if I have something that I need to be taken care of, I want it done yesterday. But when you're going there, that you're already getting the highest amount of healing that you can, really, on the face of the planet, from, the knowledge that I have. So that is super important.
Well, do you ever call upon the angels when you're doing your healings?
Every single time that I'm doing my healings, I call upon the angels in everything that I do.
Well, I have found when I'm working with Karuna Reiki that when I call upon Archangel Chamuel, I feel that it heightens the healing, because Archangel Chamuel, and this is Archangel Chamuel right here. This is the statue of Chamuel. This is the angel of love. The angel of love. And actually, Brian, our director and producer, has placed behind us a beautiful, beautiful portrait of Archangel Chamuel, the angel of love. And when we're talking about the angel of love, we aren't just talking about romantic love, although Chamuel is the one to call on when you want some help with that. But also, Chamuel is the angel of peace. And peace in relationships, right? So have you had any experiences with Archangel Chamuel, and do you ever call upon, I call her, even though angels are neither masculine or feminine, but I don't know, she just reminds me of a her. I feel a femininity about her.
I am going to agree with you on that, and every single day I, call upon Archangel Chamuel, especially, as you were saying before, setting some sort of positive intentions throughout your day, changing the script in your mind to positive.
Right.
I start my day off every single day by lighting a pink candle, because to me, the pink, the rose, the heart, the love, I light that every single day, and I call upon Archangel Chamuel and many other angels.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In addition. And I just start my day with God, and I ask to be led.
Absolutely, that's the whole idea. Archangel, you brought up pink. Now, pink is the color of Archangel Chamuel. And if you would like to bring more peace and love into your life, then all you have to do is just imagine this baby pink mist around you. And many times when people do this and they breathe in that pink mist, they end up smelling like the scent of roses. And that happens quite a bit. I've had a lot of people tell me that, because when I have clients come to me and they're having problems in their love life, I always suggest, in order to bring peace into the relationship, in order to bring a loving gentleness into that relationship, then just imagine yourself and that person surrounded by that beautiful pink mist to bring that about. but this is not anything to do with trying to change anyone else's independence in any way,
Right.
because we can't do that.
Right.
That's not something that you ever want to do. But Archangel Chamuel, actually, her name, his name, means one who seeks God. And anyone who seeks God is seeking love, right?
Absolutely.
God's unconditional love. But the reason that I wanted to also talk about the angel of love, Archangel Chamuel, is due to the fact that we have Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. And lots of times it's beautiful being with our family, but sometimes what can happen is there could be problems, personality problems and issues between families. So just call upon Archangel Chamuel, and just surround maybe the dinner table at Thanksgiving or whatever, and just imagine that big, beautiful pink mist. Okay? Because Chamuel loves to help with that, to bring out the love and to bring the peace to any kind of a situation. Chamuel is actually the one in the Bible who comforted Adam and Eve, and also comforted Jesus in the garden before the arrest and crucifixion. These are a couple of notes that I have here about this. And what also happens is that Archangel Chamuel can bring into your life in relationships respect and love. So before love, even more so respect. Because if you don't have respect, there's not going to be the love there, right? The interaction between the two people. And Archangel, if you have gone through any kind of a relationship trauma, just say a nice little prayer to Archangel Chamuel to come and help you with that, So what else did you want to add? Please.
Two things.
Please.
A few things. First and foremost is calling upon Archangel Chamuel for loving yourself.
Yes.
Because the inner
Yes.
essence, as we both know, is you can feel complete and whole as your own self in order to give everything you possibly can to someone else, because you're never going to find your completeness. So, I think when you reflect back to that, then you can even elevate whatever it is that you want in your love life.
You
to a
have
whole
to
nother
love
level.
yourself first, and you have to be able to respect yourself first. So if you don't have that love and respect for yourself, you're absolutely right. How can you ever find, the love that you're seeking? Or even, it can harm relationships with family members and things like that. Because a lot of times, I'm sure that you would agree with me about this, a lot of times people act out to their loved ones in ways that are not very loving. Because they're carrying some kind of an anger or a hurt.
Right.
Which, bottom line, what are we coming down to? That anger is really rooted in a hurt.
Yes.
Some kind of a broken heart.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so it comes out as anger.
Correct.
And what happens with that then? Then your loved one, your friend or your family or whatever, or maybe even your boss, then they're not going to love you back because you're not giving out love. You have to give out love to get love. Right? Isn't that the truth?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Would you like to add something about that?
Yeah, actually, one more thing I wanted to add is, we were talking about the color of pink,
Yes, pink.
love and things like that. And then you were saying about going to, holiday gatherings and being around people that might not necessarily be in a very, happy, positive space at that time.
Sometimes it's not. Yeah.
Sometimes, but I was thinking, I'm looking at you and you have a beautiful shirt on and wearing
Right, the color.
the actual color in addition, or maybe bringing an item to the table or to whatever home you're going to with actually the color of pink or might also continue to help to enhance.
Yes, amen.
Right?
Absolutely.
I was just thinking about that.
Absolutely. And then, of course, absolutely, you can maybe bring some pink flowers or something like that, because Archangel Chamuel really loves to work with the color pink, because all colors are a vibration.
Correct.
And so the other vibration that Archangel Chamuel absolutely loves, and I brought a big, huge piece of it here today. This is the rose quartz, actually, that I keep in my office. And this right here, that's a piece of rose quartz. It's pretty big, but what it is, it looks like a pink crystal. And rose quartz brings love and peace and joy. And if you're looking to draw love into your life, it's not a bad idea to maybe wear a little piece of rose quartz on a long enough chain around your neck so that it will hit your heart chakra. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people carry rose quartz even in their pocket and things like that. You know, last month's show, I was surprised. Actually, I interviewed my son, Daniel, who you know very, very well. You and he were in classes, in some of my classes together, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
And
powerful healings
he
going
pulled
on.
out of his pocket these stones that I didn't even realize he was carrying with him. Do you carry any stones, or do you wear any stones?
I actually, every single day, I kind of vary depending on what I'm feeling for the day. I actually like to be guided based on what I feel drawn to. Okay, and like currently I'm wearing tiger's eye.
Oh, this is nice. Very nice.
And I have some
jade. Yeah, I see the jade.
You know, I knew we would be doing the show.
Yeah.
And just, you know, bringing in also dealing with like the heart chakra and green. And I kind of was going with that. But and there's some purple in there. Just bringing a sense of overwhelming peace. And it just helps to kind of
beautiful.
Just help your being. I sleep underneath, put sometimes the quartz. I use selenite a lot. And
yes.
that I feel so
Oh, that'll really help you with
soothing.
your dreams.
Oh boy.
That should help you with
boy.
Yeah, well, you have to be careful with that because you could do a lot of astral flight with that.
Well,
but then again, I know you do.
I do.
Because we meet up there sometimes.
Hey, my dreams are kind of cool, you know?
I know, Kirsten, I know. But it's interesting, too, because I wanted to bring something up now that you talked about your green that you brought. Because green, the heart chakra, we have the chakra system that, you know, I mean, most people understand those are the main energy points on the body. And as any Reiki master, the Reiki master will balance all your chakras for you, the main energy points. Okay, so when we're talking about love and the healing, we're talking about healing of the heart chakra. Right? Okay. And if you have had any heartache at all, and it doesn't have to mean romantic heartache, or if you have had if you have any kind of heart issues, there's something that I tell my clients in my office, and I'd love to share it with the audience right now, that if you can just get comfortable, and we can do a little exercise here that can help balance your heart chakra right now.
That's beautiful.
So if you could just maybe get comfortable and close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just let your whole body relax. And now imagine that there's a spiral of bright green light, emerald green light, spiraling in front of you. Just imagine that spiral of green light. Beautiful, beautiful emerald green light. And now imagine that there's a pink mist, a baby pink mist, spiraling around in the middle of that green light. And there it is, your spiral of emerald green light and pink mist, spiraling, spiraling, spiraling in front of you. And now, just imagine that that spiral of green and pink comes closer and closer and closer to you, closer to your heart. Allow it to just enter right into your heart chakra and feel that healing energy from Archangel Raphael and Archangel Chamuel, healing your heart, healing that heart chakra, bringing in the love and the peace, filling any cracks that are there of hurt or disappointment. And now, just take another deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, and just slowly open your eyes. I hope you enjoyed that little exercise. That's something I actually teach my clients in my office who have gone through any kind of heartache or are dealing with any type of heart ailments. And I suggest to them that at night, when they get in their bed and they're nice and comfortable, they just simply allow that beautiful spiral of green light and pink mist to spiral in front of them and above them, and then enter into their heart chakra. And what that is that you're receiving an angelic healing from Archangel Raphael and Archangel Chamuel, working together to heal you. Many blessings. So, did you ever see on my desk, you've been to my office a lot of times.
Yes.
Okay, did you ever see on my desk, I don't know if you ever noticed it, it's right on the edge of my desk, it's this little round piece of glass artwork.
Yes, I definitely
And it has that spiral in it of the green and the pink.
Oh.
Yes, it does.
Now I
A friend of
understand.
mine, a very good friend of mine, Sharon Gage, who I'm hoping to have on the show pretty soon. She's a wonderful hypnotist. She gave that to me many, many years ago. Many years ago. And it's actually a piece of artwork. And I have it so that it sits on my desk, and it's actually aiming towards the chair that my clients are sitting in order to help them heal their heart.
Oh, that's so
Yeah, because I had empowered that piece for
able to
that.
do that.
Do you see what I mean?
do.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Do you use crystals when you're doing your energy work?
I do. And again, it's a very similar thing. Certain crystals you're called to use depending on what you feel your client needs.
Intuitively.
Intuitively.
Yes.
And so, as we spoke of, when you're balancing someone's chakras, you could see perhaps what might not be flowing as smoothly as it normally
Okay.
would.
A lot of people don't understand what you're saying.
Oh, maybe.
See as right, because I mean, you've been doing Reiki for so many
Yeah.
years. So what it is, when you're learning Reiki, most Reiki masters teach you how to read an aura. So that's really what you're talking about,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that, because people are probably wondering, Kirsten, how do you see that energy? Okay, and can they see that energy?
And it's all variant. Some people can intuitively feel when something is not flowing correctly. Some people can clearly see that something is not flowing properly. A lot of times I can see if someone is not feeling well, and I can notice a fluctuation in their aura, and sure enough, that's usually the case, whether it be something, medically. And then what you do is, if somebody comes into the office, I've seen them come in and maybe not be looking very, healthy, if you will, whether it just be because maybe emotionally, physically, spiritually.
Right.
And they leave the office, when they're ready to leave, they're bright.
Isn't it beautiful?
And it's so
That's
beautiful.
the holy fire. The holy fire, I mean, it depends on what your belief system is, but the holy fire can be universal energy. But personally, for me, it's the Holy Spirit. And I know it is for you too.
Absolutely.
The Holy Spirit. That's who I
Absolutely.
work with, the Holy Spirit. And I know you do too. But I mean, you and I together have done Reiki sessions on even,
Seriously ill people.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
It was stage 4. Yeah. But also, I mean, you had been on the God's Way show, that wonderful show.
That was wonderful.
I remember, I was co-hosting with Thomas Knights Templar, and you were talking about one of the clients that ran in the office one day in our office.
Oh, my goodness.
And I know, but tell the audience about that in case they didn't get to see that show.
Okay, well, it was sort of getting close to, the
Closing.
And a lady came in and was definitely looking in severe pain. She actually came in and she didn't have shoes on her feet, and she said she was in serious pain. I didn't really expect it, and she actually wanted me to try to help her so that she'd be able to drive the rest of the way to get to her location. So, of course, we were able to, do whatever we could, and she went from not being able to walk, into the office or drive further,
Right.
to feeling so much better, getting in her car and driving.
Yeah, and
home.
she didn't have any shoes on, you said,
No
right?
shoes.
I know.
They were
Didn't
too
have an
painful.
appointment. No, I know.
No appointment.
I know.
Hardly.
Right.
I think she had some change and whatnot.
But see,
I've never seen anything like
she
that.
was drawn to come in
Yes.
and get help from you.
Yes.
And that's absolutely, absolutely beautiful.
It really-
Absolutely beautiful.
It really was.
So, what other angels do you work with? Because there's another angel we're going to be talking about here tonight, but I know that you work with, I believe it's 1 or 2 specific ones quite a bit.
Okay. I definitely love to work with Joe Sciallo. Okay. Because I just want to bring in that light. I do that every day, even for myself. That's my guardian angel.
Yes.
And I like to call in Michael.
Yes.
Okay, just for the strength.
Can't go wrong with Michael.
Right? For the strength.
Absolutely.
And again, it's interesting. Sometimes as I'm working on a client, they will have their own need.
Exactly.
And I'll be talking with, whoever the client is and say,
Right.
Archangel Michael came in or Archangel Raphael came in.
Yes.
And they will relate in some way, shape, or form, which blows my mind because it's unbeknownst to me because I'm just the conduit.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Because lots of times when I'm doing a healing session, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a Native American healing session that I'm doing, okay? because besides the Reiki, you know, I do the Native American healing. You know
Yes,
that.
I do.
Okay. And so anyway, but lots of times I could be even in a Holy Fire Karuna session with a client and an animal will show up, you know, a totem
So cool.
animal. And so I'm not even in, you know, and for them, and it's for them. So, you know, we can call upon our angels while we're doing the work. But also, that's a very good point that you brought up. The client, many times, their angels will just pop in and they're doing some work there too, and you can actually feel it. But, you know, in reference to the aura, let's get back to that aura again, all right? Because anyone, you know, who would like to learn how to read an aura, I can tell you something real simple right now to do. All you have to do is at dawn or dusk. Remember this from the class,
I
Kirsten?
sure do. I sure do.
Okay. At dawn or dusk, all you have to do is just, you know, go outside or even from your window in your house, look at a tree. Look at the top of a tree, and you will see the energy above the tree, just a little bit. And what you do when you're first learning how to read auras, this is a good practice, and you just squint your eyes a little bit, just a little bit, and just try to see that little film of energy. You might see a really big one, or you might see a little one. But that is how you adjust your eyes and your senses, especially your sixth sense, in order to connect with that aura. And then eventually what will happen is you'll probably be able to see the aura of the entire tree. But that's the best way to do it. And that time of day, you know, it's easier to see that energy. And what that energy looks like is like on a pavement on a hot day, that
Yes.
little bit of sizzling energy, that's
Right.
what it looks like. Or if you're in line in the grocery store or in a restaurant, you can look at somebody at the back of their head and see if you can see, like, you just squint your eyes a little bit and see if you could see any energy coming out of the crown chakra. And then eventually you'd be able to see auras like you do and I do, right? And see different colors and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. But I like to tell people how they can help themselves and how they can, you know, do things like on a daily basis for them to be able to heighten their levels of spirituality, you know? Because a lot of times I think people think, well, I don't have all that training, or I don't have that kind of lifestyle. But you can still help yourself. And that's why, especially too, when you write this column, the advice that you're giving is absolutely right on, because you actually give tools to people to help themselves on a daily basis, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
And even as, like you were saying, I think I had said something in the article about going, you know, out into nature, or just, you know, taking those pauses. Those are simple ways that anyone can actually reconnect with themselves, with nature, with spirituality.
With God.
With God. You could go
God.
and sit next to a beautiful oak tree, or just sit there and, you know, see a beautiful bird or a blue jay. Just happens to fly down, or a cardinal. People talk about cardinals all the time.
Oh, I know. I
Right?
know. And many times that's a loved one coming to see them. You know, there's another angel I wanted to talk about here, and that's Archangel Berechiah. And what Berechiah's name means is God's blessings. And Archangel Berechiah is actually the chief of all the angels. Of all the guardian angels, let's put it that way. He's seraphim, and he's the one that really can help in a family situation. You know about Archangel
Absolutely.
Berechiah, right? And he's also the angel of plenty. Could I please have
Absolutely.
Berechiah there? Okay, this is Archangel Berechiah. This is Archangel Berechiah, and as you can see that he's carrying a bread basket. He's the angel of abundance and of plenty. And he's the angel if you want to ask for help in being successful, to bring plenty and success into your life. And also, if a person is trying to have a baby, and having a problem with that, then Berechiah can also assist you with that in having children. Now, also the color green, just like Archangel Raphael, but Archangel Raphael's color green, the ray that he comes down, that light, is a brighter emerald green, whereas Berechiah's is a little bit more muted. And but he is the angel that helps with relationships with family and friends. So this is what we're talking about here, because we want to see everybody have a beautiful Thanksgiving,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And any kind of interaction with family. If you call upon Archangel Chamuel and Berechiah to be there at your gathering, it would be wonderful. Because what Thanksgiving is really about is about gratitude, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Here, can you put
Sure.
them back? Thank you. So, what advice would you give in reference to gratitude, to be grateful for? Because in your column, you were talking about that.
Okay. Well, speaking of the holiday coming up, I would hope that people would have an opportunity to be with family or friends or people they consider their family, and just remembering that there's no time like the present to be thankful for any opportunity you have to spend with your loved ones. And with that in mind, if you have any maybe unresolved issues, practicing loving yourself with Archangel Chamuel
Yes.
prior to going out, and remembering that maybe your family member is coming across a different way because they're hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So finding a way to try to rise above that, rise above it, look in, because you can't get your moments back, and you want to be able to. There's no time like the present.
Absolutely. That's all we have is the present, really.
Right.
Really. It's all we have is the present. You cannot change the past.
Yes.
And you have the present, that what you create in the present will create your future.
Correct.
So that's what it's all about.
I think people are scared too to break that bread, if you will, if there is any disharmony at the table with their family, and it's taking the chance.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, exactly, because you can't get moments back.
Yeah.
And what life is really about is moments in your life. The cherished moments with your loved ones, with your family, with your pets, with your friends. That's really what it's about. The other thing is, in reference to gratitude is really important, because it is one of the universal laws that if you are grateful, then you will actually receive more abundance.
Absolutely.
And that is the truth.
Absolutely.
What you're grateful for, you receive more of. More of, right? So what do you have to say about that, Kirsten?
Well, just recently, I was having to pay a little bit of a college tuition, and it was actually $500 more that I had to pay, and it was waiting to get resolved. And in the meantime, my pet passed away, and
I'm so sorry.
well,
So
I
sorry.
know that he's in heaven with God, and so I'm at peace.
It was just 2 days ago.
Yes, just 2 days ago. So that pet visit cost $500. Well, the next day, my college tuition fee got waived. And so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, God.
Right.
Because that, to me,
There you go.
is directly,
Oh, the synchronicity.
What a gift.
You can't, yeah.
What a gift.
And that's how you have to view it, as a gift.
What a
See,
gift.
because you very lovingly helped your pet
Absolutely.
cross in a gentle way,
Correct.
even though it cost $500.
It did.
But that's okay, because you have the faith
Yes.
that and the love that would be returned to you anyway. You weren't even thinking about that,
Not
really.
even-
I mean,
not
you just
even.
don't even think about it.
Not even.
But so therefore, then it is the law of return, and there you go.
Oh, yes.
So there you
absolutely.
go. That's absolutely great. That's beautiful. And anyway, I mean, you and I were talking about it on the way here, and we both agree that he's in a very peaceful, beautiful place.
It was such a peaceful, passing, and I'm very,
And
very thankful.
he may decide to return soon.
That would be a
We
blessing
were talking
too.
about that. Well, so every month I have a newsletter on my website that if you would like to go on there and read Kirsten's column of love, and I also have the special planetary aspects on there and the horoscope column and angel columns that I write for newspapers and magazines, and the horoscope that I write for newspapers and magazines that you could read. And we give other information and things like that on there. And a lot of the TV shows are on there too. So, but if you want to go and be able to read Kirsten's column, it's actually up right now on the website. And I would like to just wish you all a beautiful, 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 abundant Thanksgiving. And I'm very grateful that you tuned in to hear all about these beautiful angels. And I'm very grateful, Kirsten, that you came and shared all this wonderful information and all the wonderful work that you do with children and that you do with your clients. I'm very grateful that you're in my life.
And
So,
Mary,
thank you.
You are a blessing. I love you dearly. And what more than a
Aw.
hug and an angel kiss?
Aw.
About love. I love you.
Aw, love you
Thank
too,
you.
honey. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you again next month. We have a very interesting show coming up that I think you'll really appreciate too. Thank you, thank you. Many angelic blessings, many angelic blessings. God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.